Welcome coders. In this video we are going to learn about how can we build MySQL stored procedures inside MySQL Docker container. Now as you have learned that we will have Docker containers, and those Docker container, one of the Docker container will have MySQL. So we will get into that container and we will build MySQL stored procedures. Now stored procedures are important because they act like similar to any function of any programming language. So I will take reference of Python functions. So similar to Python functions, stored procedures are also functions of SQL. They are highly used because two main reasons. One, the first reason is that when we use MySQL stored procedure, we can escape the repeated number of queries that we write, and we can escape that. And the other reason is that when we use MySQL stored procedure, now the architecture what we are following here is that the Docker container, or you can say the machine which is hosting MySQL server, that is not the same machine where Python code is there. So whenever we are trying to fetch some data, that data should come and go using network. So every time if we trigger one SQL, or you can say if we trigger some complex SQL queries, so that query will travel inside the network, and it will go inside the database and it will extract the data, and it will come back to the point where it has called those queries. Now if we are using MySQL stored procedures, now the stored procedure, the function that will reside in the database server, so, and from the callers part of point we will only trigger that function name with some parameters inside it. So in the second case where we are using stored procedures, only function parameters and the function name will get passed, and we will get the actual data. So the business logic of the SQL query, that will reside inside stored procedures, and stored procedure will reside near, or you can say with the SQL server. So indirectly the network overhead, or you can say the network traffic will go down. So this is the motive behind using MySQL stored procedures. Now in the next screen I will move to MySQL workbench screen. There I will show you how you can build MySQL stored procedures with and without parameters, and whatever I will demonstrate you in this video, there will be a link in the description below. If you go there, you will get all the codes. So in this video you don't have to worry about the code, you just listen what I am saying and you can follow using that. So let's begin. Alright, here we are in our Docker machine where the actual database is there. So first we shall start the Docker container which contains the actual data base. So first I will start the Docker container. So to list out what are the Docker containers that are there and they are running, so I will use docker ps-a. So you can see there is a Docker container that is MySQL test9. So I shall start this Docker container. So docker start MySQL underscore test9. Okay, you can check it, docker a. This container is started. So now we can get inside this and we can extract all the data, and I will show you how you can create stored procedures. So now I will move to MySQL workbench. So let's go there and you can check what are the connections that are there. So just for a brief moment I shall I will go into that and I will make it edit connections. So you can, the IP address is 192.168.1.201, but in your case it will be 127.0.0.1 because your Docker system is running in your local machine. But in my case I have installed Docker into some other systems and I am accessing that Docker machine using IP address, using a different IP address. So I am using this IP address, okay, 192.168.1.201, but the port number will be same. The username is dev1. These settings I have shown you in my last Docker video, so you can go there and have a look inside that. So and the database name that I have given, that is employees. So first I will test the connection. So it is okay. Now I will get into the MySQL workbench. Okay, now first I shall create one stored procedure that will not take any argument, only it will return some data. So the syntax goes something like this. First we will have a delimiter meter, then we will have $, then I will write again delimiter, then semicolon. Why we are using this delimiter over here is that there is a reason. The reason is that in MySQL the default delimiter is semicolon, but for the time being we are changing the default delimiter to $, and again we are resetting it at the end. So whatever we shall write between this, that will use the delimiter semicolon. So first I shall create a stored procedure. So create procedure and I will write, let's say, get first 50 employees. Okay, it will not take any parameters, so I will keep it blank. So you come out, then I will write begin and end. Whatever SQL query you will write between begin and end, that is the actual query, or that is the actual extraction of the, or you can say the actual operations that you are going to do on the database. So in our case, I will extract some data. So I will select star from employees limit 50. Okay, so you can see I am extracting only the top 50 employees of the table. So if I execute it, you can see one of my stored procedures will be created. Where is the action? I can't see. Okay, I have not given $$ after end, so it is not showing. So now if I execute it, you can see the stored procedure has been created, and if you refresh it over here, you will get the stored procedure name. Now if I execute this stored procedure without writing the actual query, we will extract the first 50 employees. So you can use call get first 50 employees and just execute, and you will get the data. So to call any stored procedure, you have to use the call keyword. Just after that, give a space and write the stored procedure name. So this is the simple stored procedure that you can create, that doesn't take any argument, or it doesn't returns, or it doesn't gets any data. So how can you list out all the stored procedure that are present inside your database? To do that, you have to use a code that is source stored procedure. So procedure status where db equal to employees. Now if you execute this code, it will give us all the stored procedures that are present inside our database. Okay, now how can you drop a stored procedure? So it is very simple. Drop procedure. What is the procedure name? That is get first 50 employees, and it will not have the parenthesis, and just execute this code, and the procedure has been dropped. And you can, if you want to check, you can execute this command once more. I will comment out this line again, and I will execute it, and you will see there is no first 50 employees. So using this command, show procedure status where db equal to, so this command will list out all the stored procedures that are present inside that database, and drop procedure name. This will drop any specific procedures that you have mentioned in the last part of the argument. So this is how you can build stored procedures. Now we will create one more stored procedure that will take one argument. So the story remains the same. I will create one stored procedure, so that will be delimiter, and it will have $. Then I will have again a delimiter, and I will have semicolon. Then I will write the stored procedure. So create procedure get employee information. Then it will take one argument. So as it is taking one argument, means we are passing some data into that function. So I will write in, then what is the argument, or you can say what is the parameter name, that will be, let's say, id, and the id is of type integer. So this is how you can define the stored procedure header. Once you get that, then you will write begin, then you will write end. Now inside this you will write the stored the actual SQL query. So in this case it will be select star from employees where emp underscore no equal to id. Now if I execute this code, and remember there will be a $$ after end. So if I execute this code, one stored procedure will get created by get employee information. Okay, that name will be get employee information. So let's execute it, and our stored procedure has been created. You can check over here. If you refresh it, you will get employee information. Now if you want to call this function, or you can see if you want to call this procedure, so you have to write call get employee information, and the parameter that we will pass, that will be, let's say, 10004. Now if I execute this code, you will get all the informations of that specific employee that contains id 10004. So let's execute it, and you will see we have got all the data. So this is procedure type 2, where it is taking one argument. Now procedure type 3 is that it will take one argument, and it will extract some of the data, and it will return some data. So that is, in terms of MySQL, it's called out parameter. So I will drop this, let's say, I will create one more stored procedure. So I will write over here that will be again delimiter, the double dollar, come here outside delimiter meter semicolon. Now inside it I will write the stored procedure name. Let's say create procedure get employee gender. I will write something inside that. So that will be, first is the ID part. So in ID it is integer type, sorry, int. Then I will return some of the data. So that is out. What is that? That is gender. So I am trying to extract the gender of that specific employee. So I will write gender out enum m comma f. Now why I am using m comma f and it is enum? Because the table where during the formation of the table they have defined the gender column using enum data type. So I will use the same enum so that it could map easily. So once this is done, we have to write the code over here, and remember the out parameter, this name has to match to some other places that I will show you. So here I will write begin, GIN begin, then I will write end, and it will have double dollar inside it. Go inside it, then write gender into, what is that, gender out from employee where emp underscore no equal to id. So what you can observe over here is that just a second, whatever the parameter names that you have given here, it should match over here. So for in case of in parameter, id has to match with this id, and the gender out, it has to match with gender out over here. So selecting a gender from the table and data it has got from the MySQL table, it will put into gender out variable. So once this is done, our stored procedure is ready. Now we need to execute it so that it could write it. So our stored procedure has been created. Now if you want to look into it, you can go here and you can refresh the button and you can get employee gender. So this is a stored procedure that we have created. Now if we want to call this stored procedure, similar call employee gender, I will pass in parameter as 10004 and I will write the out parameter, so that is gender out. So whenever there is an out parameter, we have to prepend it with @ symbol. Once this is done, just execute this code. It is not showing, it is showing some error. Great. All right, I have got the error. Now error is that when I have created get gender procedure, I have forgot one s over here. So that's why it went to some other table. That table doesn't exist. So stored procedure was created, but that employee table was not there. So I will create the stored procedure once more, and it has been created. Now let's comment it out. Now I will come out of the call this get employee gender. The ID would be 10004 and I will have the out gender, that is gender out. Just call this stored procedure. It has called it. Now to get the data, you have to write select @gender out. So now we will get the gender of employee 10004. So if you execute it, you will get M. So M means the gender of employee whose ID is 10004, that is M. So this is how you can get stored procedures. I have explained all this code in my website. You can get the link in the description below. So let's meet in the next video.